We wanted to now go to an interview that we recorded earlier with our longtime contributor, scholar, activist, organizer, writer, Shahd Abusalama,
Artist.
artist. She's an incredible artist, and
Wonderful.
she's a daughter of Jabaliya refugee camp. She grew up there, of course, as a refugee. Her original villages are just a few kilometers away, of course, um, and she and her family have been through absolute hell the last 22 months. And Shahed, who is not in Gaza, has been trying to protect her family members from this nightmare, from this genocide. So we were able to speak with her. We recorded this earlier. Let's go to that incredible interview with Shahed.
Thank you so much for joining us, Shahd. A few hours ago, you posted on Twitter X that Israel just killed your neighbor Ala Osama Abu Murad, someone you grew up with in Gaza. You've also lost many other friends and family members in this ongoing genocide, including your uncle Marwan and your aunt Haniya earlier this year. What do you want people to know about Ala and about the situation for people you're in touch with in Gaza right now, including the survivors of some of these massacres?
It's an ongoing grief. Like we still live in an open-ended funeral, as you can see, and there's no time to really process any loss because we have to stay strong for the survivors. We of course, like, there's no words to describe the devastating loss of all these loved ones, uncles, cousins, friends, neighbors, teachers. But we have to remember that all of them were like either a son or a father or a husband, and that they leave people behind who are our responsibility. Their survival is our responsibility. And for example, when it comes to Marwan and Haniya, they also lost two sons, Yusuf at the beginning of the genocide on the 27th of October 2023. My dearest cousin, he was actually the closest of all of them to me, and I was in daily touch with him. And then they killed my uncle and his wife Haniya and their son Wasim, who just became a father to a son he named Yusuf to commemorate his brother who was martyred at 27 years old with no crime, while standing outside the house, our grandparents' house in Jabaliya refugee camp that they sought refuge to, the same family house where we were all born, actually. We were all born in that house. We're talking about the first intifada when three generational families would be like growing inside the same, under the same roof. And we were one such family. Majid, my eldest brother, and my elder sister Majd, and me were born together with all of my cousins that are now killed. Few survive. Muhammad, 17 years old. He was 16 when he lost his parents and brothers. And he he hardly survived. He survived with shrapnels, and he's still suffering the health complications of this injury. The shrapnel remains in his chest, and he hardly received any medical care in Gaza because of the endless flow of injured people, thanks to the endless crimes against our people and the devastation of the health sector. And they're so overwhelmed, so they can't keep they can't provide the right medical attention to injured people. So Muhammad has been reporting shortness of breath. He's turning into like a skeleton, skin and bones, like right in front of me. And I speak to them at least twice a day. And I see them like in front of me, like shrinking, and I can't do anything. And everything we send to them is 50% deducted, and as if like you
And
know,
that's
like
because of the commissions that
constitutions.
that
Yes, but we have to do that because they rely on us for
yeah,
the
yeah,
survival. And we, what other options are there?
yeah.
So it feels like we're like structurally vulnerable, that all forces are like collaborating to destroy any potential of our people's survival.
But you haven't given up on people, though. You are
I'm not
campaigning for them and you're trying to help them. What are some of the things that you're doing and that other people like you with families still in Gaza are doing?
Yes. So I have launched um, a, a fundraiser to help me sustain their existence and survival, and support their evacuation and potential resettlement, hopefully, ideally in Spain, because I succeeded to evacuate 6 members of my family from the genocide and save their lives. Um, and the fact that they killed my uncle and his husband and wiped out so many branches of my family, um, like shows that the danger at their life is not hypothetical. It's not like, you know, a matter of anxiety. It's real. It's real, and we live it with every waking moment. And Sarah, poor Sarah, like the youngest child of Marwan and Haniya, she turned 12. She turned 12. She turned 12 on the day that her parents were killed, and has been denied education, has been denied any sense of safety. She's dealing with like constant nightmares and trauma symptoms, various trauma symptoms. And when she talks to me, like, she's like, when are you, do you have any news about potentially us coming to join you? They look at me as if like I'm the only you know, hope. And it's hard to be burdening this responsibility, but I can't tell them as well that the whole world abandoned you and you have no option but to die. So I'm trying my best, and I'm trying to knock every door possible for them, because they are my siblings, and I don't subscribe to Western conception of a family, a nuclear family. As I said, I was born under the same rooftop with my cousins, in my grandparents' home in Jabaliya refugee camp, and this home Israel turned it to become our family's mass grave, and we're still witnessing an incredible loss, and they're facing situations of day and death every day. Even yesterday they were just coming back from checking on my older two uncles who are disabled and are in dire conditions, and they were checking on them, just coming back. Israel bombed nearby in Sheikh Ridwan, a massacre, a bloodbath, and the dangers, they don't know how, like, they survived. Everything was hailing on them, the dust and everything, and they were just running for their lives. And this is like almost every day there's a bombing nearby, and there are kids growing under these conditions. Wasim, who was martyred together with my uncle and aunt, his parents, he left a newborn, Yusuf, who just turned 1 year old on the 7th of he would turn 1 year old on the 7th of October. So he's just 10 months now, and he's growing under these conditions. He's growing in a tent, and what can a tent do to protect a child from 1,000-ton explosives?
Shahid. Another another dear brother, cousin, family member of yours, Mahmoud Abusalama, is a journalist in Gaza. He's still in North Gaza, one of the few left doing the work of bearing witness and telling the world, showing the world what's happening, especially in Jabaliya and Gaza City. And your concerns about Mahmoud are obviously justified, especially after the latest murders by Israel of Anessa Sharif, Mohammed Kareka, and the other journalists, the Al Jazeera crew, a few days ago.
Ibrahim Tahir, Muhammad Nofal,
Yeah,
Muhammad Al-Kahlout.
yeah. Talk about Mahmoud's situation and
Mahmoud,
yeah, go ahead.
Mahmoud Abusalama has been alongside his colleagues, have been doing God's work on the front line and reporting from conditions of life and death, where they're wearing a vest, a press vest that is supposed to protect them, and instead it's making them legitimate target in the eyes of Israel's terrorists. And he has survived multiple close encounters with death, 1,000 times almost lucky. Incredible. I've been following him closely. I've never missed a notification from him, and I'm always every day on calls with him throughout these times. He's one of my closest cousins since childhood, and I'm really worried about his life. This is even before the last targeting of 6 journalists in the Ashifa tent just a couple of days ago. For like last week almost now, Israeli media, an infamous platform called Israel Speaks Arabic has been sharing a video of Mahmoud that he filmed of him evacuating a family, helping to evacuate a family to safety. This family had just been targeted by an Israeli strike while on the journey of displacement, this journey of death that Israel forces people to do after imposing displacement orders on them, forcing them to either leave or die. But even as they leave, they cannot escape the death. So he was recording the aftermath of one such crime and used his own vehicle to help a group of children who were in complete panic after losing and witnessing God knows what terror they've seen. And they were in horrific conditions, in absolute panic. And in the Israeli propaganda platforms, they dismissed his whole coverage as Pallywood, which of course were not new to these tactics of delegitimization that they use against the Palestinians. And they've used this claim against so many crimes to deny so many crimes that they've perpetuated against the Palestinians in the past as well. As a media scholar, I can say that they even used the footage of Muhammad al-Durra, who was killed while under the arms of his father in the second Intifada. Sorry, they also dismissed that as Pallywood in their platforms, and Israeli journalists also engaged in the same dehumanizing rhetorics, denying a crime that was perpetrated before camera. And no accountability happened then, no accountability happened for any crime. And here Mahmoud has survived multiple injuries as a result of targeted attacks against him and his colleagues. Even with Anas al-Sharif and Hussam Shabat and others, there are horrific videos that record close encounters they had with death because of Israel's constant deliberate targeting of journalists in a desperate attempt to silence the truth.
Yeah,
So
they were hunted. They were hunted.
And journalists are being hunted, and so your fear for Mahmoud, given the incitement against him, we know that many of the other journalists were killed. Some were just killed in their homes or their families were murdered. But with other cases, including Anas, Hussam Shubat, and many, many others, they were preceded by these kinds of incitement campaigns
that's right.
where a target is
Mahmoud
placed
is
on them.
facing the same tactics.
And
Mahmoud is facing right now the same tactics, and they are also accusing him of being a member of Hamas. Complete lies.
as they
And
did with Anas al-Sharif and
exactly.
And
many
Hossam
of the
Shabat.
others.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And he's seeking every avenue to try and save his life and his family's life. Mahmoud is a beloved husband and a father to 3 beautiful children, Majd, Muhammad, and Sanad, and they all deserve to live. They deserve a future. And I don't know, like, what is more urgent than this, especially in light of, like, Israel crossing all red lines, and we're just waiting for them to target the next victim. And Mahmoud is one of the latest prominent journalists who remain alive in North Gaza, particularly. And his account is very important to survive for humanity. So I hope that that we succeed in saving his life before it's too late. The impacts of the genocide is multifaceted and beyond description, and we need tens of thousands of podcasts like this to give it justice. But there is one last case that I'm also heavily invested in, that I'd like to talk to you about, hoping that maybe someone somewhere has the power to like help give some relief to these survivors. So one relative of mine, his name is Muhammad Ala Qarmout. He is a wanted child with no surviving family. He's one of 8 family members who were completely killed, wiped out from the civil registry on the 23rd of November or 13 of November 2023, so early in the genocide. And Muhammad was evacuated alone to Qatar in January 2024 with help from the Qatari Red Crescent. And I'm glad this happened, because if not, maybe we couldn't have guaranteed Muhammad's life. However, Muhammad is alone in Qatar, in Mujamma al-Tumama, in a Tumama complex. He was evacuated as a 15-year-old, and now he's 17. And ever since, he's been calling to be reunited with his grandmother, I'tidal, who is my aunt, and the sister of my other aunt, Haniya, who was killed, the wife of Marwan. And she lost her husband and her 3 children as they were on a journey to visit her and check on their mother, who was seeking shelter somewhere. And they bombed them on the way and killed them all. And they killed her husband in his attempt to go check on their home in Beit Lahia. And they killed the mother of Muhammad, who's now in Qatar, with all her children and her husband. And no one is left but him for her. And she's suffering from the Crohn's disease.
And she's still in Gaza.
She's still entrapped in Gaza,
Yeah.
with no
So-
one caring for her. Like her, of course, like she's with her brothers and sisters, but everyone has families and grandchildren, and in dire situations. They lost their homes. They're all in horrific conditions. And if we could just get I'tidal, because she also has serious medical needs, to join her her grandchild, her only surviving grandchild, in Qatar. And I've been trying to do this task that looks so simple, but is made so impossible for like months. I've been calling and emailing and doing everything possible. entrusted by Muhammad and my aunt Atidal to reunite them, and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening.
I mean, is there a way for people to be evacuated? I mean, we know that there are limited numbers of evacuations. It's not very clear how they all take
But
place.
it is happening.
Sorry,
There are evacuations that are happening. Italy succeeded to evacuate um, families and residents and orphans and injured people, and Norway and Belgium. So why not Spain? Why not the UK? Even the UK, I think, happened, although very limited cases. But there needs to be more pressure on Israel. There can't just be one option for the people of Gaza to just die or starve. Like they can't do that to our people, and they can't leave our people abandoned with no options. They have to uh, provide channels to support these survivors. These survivors.
these survivors of a genocide that all these governments have tolerated, supported, sometimes aided, armed very directly.
Yeah.
But
Children who have no access to any basic rights,
yeah,
no medical or psychological care. They've lost their parents, they've lost their siblings, they've lost their homes, and they have no access to education for 2 years. They're terrified. They have so many struggles, day-to-day struggles, to secure food, to secure water, to secure medicine. It's incredible. It's incredible, the unprecedented dehumanization that shouldn't be tolerated by anyone, and yet it continues. It continues.
Shahd, just before we wrap up, it's clear to me that you're not getting used to this suffering. It's not being normalized for you. The pain is very raw and very real. You said in the beginning it's an open-ended funeral, and we can hear that in your voice. We can see it in your face. We feel it. We feel it every day. You are in a situation where it's even more unbearable because you have close families and friends still in Gaza. You've lost so many people, and you don't want to lose those who remain. You want them to be rescued, to survive, to live. You want to see them again, to hug them again. And I know many of our friends and colleagues from Gaza who are in the same situation.
But
And you have to,
a simple right, and yet it feels impossible.
yeah.
It feels that they are completely abandoned, and the world has accepted that, as if the Palestinians are born to die. We are shouldering a burden that is too hard to carry alone, and too hard to fathom, like how to describe. And um and those survivors, like, enough torture, them. They need recognition of the crimes that have been committed against them. They need a chance to heal. They need to return to their ordinary lives. They need to see a future, and it is our responsibility to ensure that. And we can't just watch them suffer and sit back and do nothing.
We're witnessing a Holocaust, and we were always told never again. And we read history books about how people during the Holocaust of the 1940s set up underground networks to rescue Jews, to bring people to safety, to reunite families. And this was something we thought was in the history books. And now we're living it, you're living it. And it's
And we're
it's
also, we're also, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
no,
Ali,
go
but
ahead.
we're also living um, like hierarchies where I'm witnessing those hierarchies of how like different refugees are treated depending on where they come from and who has expelled them from their home countries. So even in Spain, like I see it with my own eyes, the treatment of Ukrainians vis-a-vis the treatment of Palestinian refugees. The level of apathy towards our lives is unbearable and outrageous and shouldn't be accepted, and it should be called out, and people just like take it as if like it's a job, like as it feels like all these human rights organizations are just sustaining these structures and and treating us as cases,
Yeah.
as like they do their jobs from 9 to 5, while we're suffering nonstop. We're suffering nonstop, and even in their 9 to 5 job, nine to five uh, week day job, is just it's incredible. They sold forth. They fall short. I'm so exhausted, and it feels like we're just repeating ourselves, and I'm refusing. I'm refusing to allow like anyone to tell me that no, there's no hope for your family but to die or starve, and this is their reality, and we just have to normalize it and accept it. We cannot normalize it.
No.
No.
Cannot. How can we normalize it? And I'm so acutely aware that I am myself a survivor, and I was born by accident. Like if my father wasn't released in the 1985 prisoners exchange that was imposed against Israel because of Palestinian resistance, my whole family didn't have a chance to exist. My dad wouldn't have met my mom, and none of us wouldn't have been born. And then the day I was born, in a curfew on Jabaliya refugee camp in the middle of Intifada, with a soldier interrupting my mom's journey of labor and pointing a gun at her belly, and all of what we suffered ever since the second intifada, the campaign, the so-called summer rains, then cast lid, then pillars of clouds, then all of these uninterrupted bombardments of Gaza, that so many crimes of which happen in front of us, around us. Like we escaped so many crimes by accident, and these people need a chance, need a chance to be before it's too late.
Shahd, I just, we, after almost 2 years of this, it's hard to find words anymore. But you, with your words, have expressed the ongoing horror, the unbearable pain that is unrelenting. And I just want you to know that we hear your voice every single day. I see your posts on Twitter X, and they're powerful. I see that you haven't given up hope for your family and for your people. They haven't given up hope in you. The people in Gaza tell us every time we speak to them that they see their hope in us when we speak out, when we keep talking about Gaza. And you have reminded us powerfully of our collective responsibility to do that, especially those of us living in the United States and Europe and the countries that are directly responsible for this genocide. I don't know what I can tell you that can ease this pain, Shahd, except that we will continue doing this work. We're grateful to you. I hope that we will, that people listening and watching will take to heart, be visible, speak out, scream and shout about Gaza. Don't give up on anyone there. Nobody in Gaza has given up. No one has given up on themselves, on their loved ones, on their family. We can't give up on them. We can't normalize this. Shahd, please know that among our viewers and listeners, there is so much love for you and so much support. And we love you too. And
Thank
we're
you.
grateful to you for coming here and sharing these difficult and painful
You,
details.
and I have to say that you have been like an integral mechanism of survival for me since I was in Gaza. And you're continuing to be like our voice when we're tired. And I'm just really grateful that you exist, that your examples are there for the people. No one should feel that they can't do anything. Everyone has a role to play. And we are embodying this example as we live and as we exist and resist. And Israel has to pay the price for all these crimes and injustices they committed against our people for 4 or 5 generations.
Yeah.
So hopefully Palestine will be free in our lifetime. We just have to keep pushing and never give up in the face of this evil.
It's painful. The pain is real. We acknowledge it, but we're not defeated in any way. We're not giving into it. Thank you, dear Shahd. I hope next time we speak to you, we'll have better news. We'll have an end to this. And we're so grateful to you. And take as good care of yourself as you can, because we need you and we need your voice as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Stay strong, Habibti. Talk soon.
Free Palestine.
I mean, I was moved when we recorded that video, but watching it, yeah, she's just the searing pain of watching your loved ones who you grew up with suffering without any respite, over and over and over again in so many different ways. Just the psychological torture and the physical torture that Israel is doing to Palestinians, and to be so far away and to know intimately those neighborhoods that are now erased. I don't know. We're so grateful and so deeply sorry. I'm just, yeah, deeply sorry for everything that Shahid and her beautiful family are going through.
Yeah, and we're grateful to Shahid for being willing to speak about it, because
Yeah.
it's so painful. It's painful to listen to, but it was painful for her to speak. And I think after we recorded that, we all needed just time. And
Yeah.
listening to it, as you said, I found it harder to listen to it
Yeah.
than when we recorded it, because when you're doing an interview, you're trying to listen, but you're also focused on what's coming next. And now I was just listening and
Yeah.
bearing witness to it, and I'm just so acutely aware that there is, Shahd is, because there are so many Palestinians from Gaza who are outside Gaza who are going through
Yeah.
what Shahd is going through every minute, every day. They're worried about their parents, their loved ones. They've lost so many people. They couldn't be with them. They couldn't hold them. They couldn't console them. They couldn't go to their funerals. There are people in Gaza who lost loved ones who are outside Gaza. I'm thinking of our friend, the journalist Ahmed Dreimli, who is in Gaza, who's surviving, who he still posts, and his mother was in Egypt. She was ill, and she passed away in Egypt in hospital, and he couldn't be with her. His siblings in Gaza, they couldn't be with her. They couldn't hold her hand in her final days and hours. They couldn't say goodbye to her. And it's just an enormous crime, this Holocaust. Enormous. I don't think in decades we're going to be able to grasp
No.
what has been done and what is being done. And I, like all of us, I go between, I think, a sadness, the phrase that Shahd used, an open-ended funeral, stuck with me, but I feel rage and anger.
Yeah, I think those are the only two emotions that that we're all feeling, is bottomless rage, bottomless sadness, um, and I mean, we have to figure out what to do with that as well.